Reviewing next week's agenda very quickly, we have our Toastmaster, Heather, Word of the Day with Jim. We have 2 speakers, Michael and Lisa. We have 1 evaluator. We will need another evaluator for next week. Table Topics Master is set. Hunter with Don, and we need a general evaluator and a grammarian. So we have 3 or 4 roles that need to be filled. So please fill those in and make our Toastmaster's job a little easier. I wanted, before we started using these, I wanted to very quickly, if you can just take a quick glance at this and just pass it down. Next week we're going to be using a new sign-in sheet, and this is to encourage our guests to leave a little more information so we can follow up with them about opportunities at Toastmasters. As members, you won't be filling in anything other than just simply initialing to acknowledging that you are here today. That way our guests don't see a bunch of blank spaces, thinking that they then don't have to give that information. We would encourage them to give us some contact information, again, so that we can follow up. The officers have been toying around with this idea of having name tents to use. So I went ahead and did these, and we'll be using this starting next week, and we'll see how they work out. They're pre-scored, so you just fold them twice, and then there's a little slit, and then they'll hopefully stand up where you are. All right, so what we have to work out, and we'll do this as a club, is distribution and then recollection. Okay, that's the one thing, and that's why we didn't do this today. So if you want to keep these in good condition so we can use them as often as possible, because these are done by hand by your local artist and craftsperson. I have started.
Who would that be, John?
I have started. I'm trying to go through this very quickly because we are running a little bit behind schedule here. I have started to distribute our Toastmasters magazine, replacing or putting over a permanent label over your address, your name, with information about our club, saying what club we are, where we meet, and how to get additional information about attending. Do not throw these away. Don't put them in the recycle bin. Give them to one of your officers. We'll repurpose this and leave them in waiting areas, etc. So let's try to do that to encourage other visitors, other people in the general community to come and visit us. Any questions on that? Great. Say that again, I'm sorry. Oh, I love it. This is the time of the meeting. I'll remind you the reason you brought in your CLs and your CCs is to see Vaughn, our VP Education, who isn't here today. In his absence, I can sign your manual. So please, do not leave before we do that so you can get credit for what you have done.
I think they've been around.
Want to make sure I'm covering everything? I'm sorry? Nicole?
Did you say you wanted us to put our initials on that sheet of paper?
No, not today. I'm just making
sorry.
everyone
Okay.
aware so that obviously not everyone who's here today will be here next week, and not everyone who's here next week will have been here today. But you know, we'll just learn by doing it. It's really simple. The idea was just to make it even worse. Okay?
John, do we have, I should probably know this by now, but do we have a formal or informal time when the group can make suggestions and, you know, to go in a new direction or to correct something or something like that?
Absolutely.
Do we do that at the very end? Or?
It would be at the end before we adjourn the meeting. Typically what we request, so as not to bog the meeting down, is that you bring it up with the officers, and then so that we can discuss it and then bring it back to the club in a more formal way. But if there's something you want to just address to the club, that would be at the very end before the gavel goes down. Is that all right?
Yeah, that's fine. And are we gonna do that on a regular basis? Is there, you know,
always. Before I end the meeting,
yeah,
unless there are any objections, I always wait 2 seconds, and then the gavel goes down.
Okay, there was something that David and I discussed informally. We just bumped into each other this week, and I just wanted to say.
Hold that thought.
Okay.
All right. I really am rushing this, aren't I? But today we're going to do that thing again that I love doing so much. I'm going to bring Swarna up here. One of the most important things that we can do as a club, and that is induct a new member. Swarna Reddy, our VP for membership,